Hello all, welcome to the free session today that is on Staphysagria. And before entering into the session, good evening to everyone. Is my voice is audible? Is it clear to everyone? And is PPT is visible to everyone? Please do text. And the slides are moving to everyone. Is it visible and clear? Yes, thank you. Okay, we'll proceed on. So today our session is on remedy Staphysagria. So before going into the pattern of understanding Staphysagria, we will understand the family pattern first, right? So Staphysagria belongs to Ranunculaceae family. So some introduction about Ranunculaceae family here are almost all plants of Ranunculae are poisonous. Almost all plants almost all plants of ranunculus are poisonous and some of its members are slightly narcotic. So Ranunculaceae family or Ranunculaceae tendency of the leaves of this plant is so much of poisonous in nature. Like for example, you can see here, aconite is one of the deadliest and most rapidly acting poison. So that's why in aconite, we can see there is a lot of suddenness, lot of violence you can see in this remedy. And coming into the next species from aconite itself, aconite ferox is the most poisonous species known, containing great proportion of aconitum. And the other remedy as well, aconitum lycotum is the only aconite which does not contain aconitum. So in this, aconitum lycotum is not that poisonous compared to aconite ferox and aconitum. And aconitum napillus is much more poisonous to carnivorous animals than to herbivorous. Now, few other examples of these Ranunculaceae family remedies. Coming to Helleborus is a violent narcotic acrid poison and in fatal poisoning causing death and has to take place in convulsion. So that's why whenever this toxicology source of this remedy produce a fatal poison causing death and takes place in convulsion. So that's why Helleborus is one remedy we can think in cases of convulsions. Coming into pulsatilla, the fresh plant has bitter and acrid taste and it is chewed. When this pulsatilla is chewed, they produce symptoms of burning in the throat and on the tongue. You can see in this remedy. So many of these ranunculaceae are direct irritant to the skin and producing inflammation. So that is what almost all ranunculaceae family members have action, especially at the sphere of skin level. At the sphere of skin pathology, you can think in this remedy. Coming into the toxicology source of this remedy or this family, Ranunculaceae contains protinomion, which is toxic to humans and animals. Contain with plant, especially may cause inflammation and blisters of the skin. See this inflammation you can see and the blisters of skin you can see, while indigestion can cause irritation of the mouth, vomiting and diarrhea. So these are the some toxicology source before entering into the actual understanding of Materia and their patterns. So some remedies of ranunculaceae we have listed down: aconite, aconite camerum, ferox, aconite lycotum, aconite napillus. Actia spicata is also the ranunculaceae remedy, which has especially for small joint points. Simsifigula, climatrix, especially for sun, full moon and half moon aggravations, the remedy. Helleborus, Helleborus niger, Helleborus orientalis, Helleborus virus, Hydrastis canadensis, you can think in cases of glandular swellings, in cases of cancer, and when calibi fails to act in thick, sticky expectoration, at the time you can think of Hydrastis canadensis. Pulsatilla and ranunculus family remedies, you can see this remedy: Ranunculus acris, Ranunculus bulbosa, Ranunculus scleratus, Ranunculus repens, and Staphysagria. So I want to tell you how our homeopathic medicines work and at what level we need to understand the Materiamedica. This para will tell you how we can understand Materiamedica. So potentized remedies have dynamic effects. Understand this. Only that means remedies have no physical, no chemical, and physiological and pathological action in this remedy. So they only have a dynamic effect. And if this is true, then we need to study not the local symptoms first, but the general symptoms, which is the state of being and state of mind. So this you need to understand. Whenever you go into the reading of Materia of the remedies, Materia of the drug patterns or the drug pictures, first you need to concentrate at the dynamic level because our medicines are potentized. That means they have dynamic effect. So in order to cure the patient at the dynamic level, you need to understand the remedy at the dynamic level, not at the local symptoms, not at the physical symptoms, not at the physiological symptoms, but you need to understand the state of being, the state of mind of each remedy. That is what most important is. And this comes first and dynamic disturbances and then comes effect on the local parts. When there is a dynamic derangement, then the symptoms will produce at the local parts. That is why when we prescribe on mental in general, we found the effect to be far more accurate than prescribing remedy on the local symptoms. So always prescribe your remedy at the mental level, at the general level, not at the local symptoms. Coming into the psychosomatic analysis of Ranunculaceae family. So this is very, very important. Every family, you need to understand their psychosomatic analysis, how it has been derived, right? When we go into the rubric patterns here, see, female, menses, general, vexation after. So here, Ranunculaceae psychosomatic is at the level of vexation. When there is a psychic derangement of vexation, then there is a derangement of somatic, especially at the female, menses, general, and vexation after. Head pain, neuralgic at the scalp after vexation, you can see in this remedy. And this rubrics covers almost all Ranunculaceae family remedies. Understand this. Here you see the next rubric: mind, sadness, despondency, lot of depression and melancholic, drunkenness during. So bad effects of alcohol you can see. This rubric will reflect you the Ranunculaceae remedy, that is Ranunculus bulbosa. Ranunculus bulbosa is such a remedy you can help and you can prescribe especially in bad effects of alcohol. Elements from alcohol, Ranunculus bulbosa. And here you see the psychosomatic. This rubric has both. That is what is main I need to concentrate. See, respiration difficult. So respiration is at the physical level, is at the pathological level. The mortification is at the psychic level. Understand this. When there is a psychological derangement or at the psychic level there is a derangement, then the somatic, then the pathology affects. That is what here. Respiration difficult, mortification after. Next, coming to the next pattern here, female menses suppressed after Chagan. That is what you need to understand. Are you all getting it? Is it clear for you all? My voice is audible and is it visible? Yes, thank you. So coming into genitalia, emotion aggravates. So any hormonal disturbances, we generally look for hormonal disturbances either at the level of PCOD, either at the level of metrorrhagia, menorrhagia, or any hormonal system diseases. They affect the psychic level. So that's Ranunculaceae family reflects here. So this you understand. The menses are affected after vexation in a woman, and the emotions have been affected on the genitalia. This rubric you describe very well. See, the first rubric I am elaborating for you all. Female menses general, vexation after. Now the menses are affected, means the hormonal system, the pineal axis, whatever psychosomatic endocrinal pineal axis, the homeopathy works at the pineal axis, right? So at the level of pineal axis, that is the psychic level is deranged, then that emotions is shown at the genitalia. So this means that there is a strong psychosomatic element. The mind is affecting the body, especially the hormonal system. So there is a path between the mind and the body towards the hormones, nerves, and genitalia. This is the beauty of understanding a psychosomatic analysis of each remedy. This you need to understand. This is where our prescription must be based on. Coming into the next pattern here, how mind and body are related in this family. How a mind level, how a body level of this Ranunculaceae family is interlinked. The connection is seen in Staphysagria, whose nervous system is the most sensitive and whom fatigue refers to a morbid sensitivity. So oversensitivity, morbid sensitivity you can see in this remedy, and that sensitivity at the eye, at the head, at the physical levels, and the same sensitivity runs at the psychic level. That's why they have the elements from insult, sensitive what others opinion says for. That is the rubric of Staphysagria. This is the link you need to understand of each remedy at the mind level and at the body level, with interlinking with the family patterns. This is the beauty. And coming to the next remedy here, aconite is also very sensitive and very reactive. Helleborus, on the other hand, extremely dull, even to the extent that when pricked with pin, the reaction comes soon, time, and the later. So Helleborus is at the later stages of this Ranunculaceae family. When there is a morbid sensitivity, then there you can see a lot of dullness. This connection you need to understand. The polarities of the remedies, the polarities of the family connections you need to understand. So, in terms of nervous reactivity, there is a sensitivity and bluntness at the opposite pole. This is what is important here. In the list of the rubrics, there is vexation, female symptoms after, and mortification, respiratory symptoms after. So the mind and the body association is there again, which gives the sensation or sensitivity after mortification. Coming in elements from indignation. This is psychic causation, almost a psychic causation. Elements from mortification, humiliation, you can see lot of emotional, mental elements from in this remedy. Elements from anger, from vexation, from grief, from silent. Anger, irritability, tendency to trembling with. So when there is excess anger in Staphysagria or in the Ranunculaceae family, there is a trembling in the bodies. Now anger is psychic, trembling is at the somatic. Coming to the generalities in this remedy, in generalities, stitching pain is more prominent, which comes very, very close to Kali's family, stitching pains. The pain is sharp stabbing and stitching and stinging, which could correspond to a vexation on a mental level. It represents the feeling of when someone is needling you, prodding you, or vexing you. This is you need to understand. Why Ranunculaceae family members have the stitching pain? Because they have the vexation, they have the elements from grief at the psychic level. Someone is stabbing you, someone is needling you, someone is vexing you from the back. That gives an indication that reflects at the somatic level with a type of pain called stitching pain in the Ranunculaceae family. And core of this family, Ranunculaceae rubrics contain more than one emotion. That's we already discussed. See here. See, more than one emotion. Mortification is a one, chagrin, grief, vexation. So this family have more than one emotion. So the three basic human emotions are fear, anger, sadness. In situation that affects us, one of the three emotions will usually be felt and predominant. So as one emotion comes to fore, the other emotions must be suppressed. So this tells you here the first emotion, then if they go into the state of second emotion, then first emotion is suppressed. This is the cycle of Ranunculaceae family members. Hence the rubric anger with silent grief, and has grief and anger together, but the sadness is suppressed. Similarly, the guilt may suppress the anger, or fear may suppress the anger. So all emotions are felt intensively, which create a great inner conflict. So this is what, where they create a great internal turmoil in the Ranunculaceae family. When the internal turmoil is such a great, cannot bear, then the symptoms can be seen at the physical level. This is the beauty of psychosomatic analysis of each remedy. Coming to the mental features of these remedies, hypersensitiveness at all external impressions you can see in this remedy. Aconite to music, to noise, to touch and pain. Climatics is a remedy which is sensitive to touch. Pulsatilla to heat and noise. Ranuncular bulbosa to touch. Staph to rudeness to touch. Punishment from a lot of violence or from any sexual abusements. Because of these hypersensitiveness, Staphysagria subjected to elements from being abused or elements from humiliation. We'll discuss more about Staphysagria in the further here. Coming into the anger and violence of this remedy, Violent anger in aconite, pulsatilla, and Staphysagria. Elements from anger, aconite, simsifigula, pulsatilla, and Staphysagria. Anger, vexation, aconite, simsifigula, ranuncula bulbosa, and Staphysagria. Vexation, it is long continued mental trauma. Coming to the comparison part of simsifigula and pulsatilla here. In simsifigula, there you can see great sign. So it comes very close to ignitia actually in sign. Pulsatilla doesn't. Both have changeable mood, both have depressions. And simsifigula is the remedy for great laboring and wandering pains with unpredictable in nature. But pulsatilla pains are present, but patient wants more of support during pains and patient needs to feel safe. That is consolation amel. Both have this insanity. Pulsatilla, but more extreme is simsifigula. Coming to the other two differences here, ranuncula bulbosa and ranuncula scleratus. In ranuncula bulbosa, it's having a lot of anxiety and uneasy, you can see in this remedy, with a lot of nausea, vomiting with increased pain. In ranuncula scleratus, delirium state, rage, violent emotions. And this is one of the beautiful, beautiful remedy for pemphigus with yellowish discharges. Ranuncula scleratus. And ranuncula bulbosa aggravates for the cold, damp weather. Some action of Ranunculaceae family members. Lot of brewish sensation you can see in this remedy: aching, nausea, vertigo, debility, twitching, convulsion, and feverish feeling is the action of Ranunculaceae family drugs. Next, coming to the difference between Compositae and Ranunculaceae family. So whenever you read in the group patterns, try to understand with different family patterns, what are the differences, how close it comes with some other families. So here you see, in the Compositae family, the feeling of being injured in the physical body can take the form of insult in the mental state. But in Ranunculaceae family, we find that it is not insulted. It is more of vexation, grief. It's always a mixture of feelings, insulted with fright, with guilt, with grief, with sadness, many emotions. But in Compositae, it runs only one emotion. In Ranunculaceae, it has two or three emotions. That is the difference. And especially in Compositae, you get the injury. Here in Ranunculaceae, you get the main theme of rawness of nerves, sensitivity of spot, a raw spot, which cannot be touched because it is exposed. It is very, very sensitive. That's why Staphysagria is very useful for effects of surgery. You know, like there is a surgical scar, insult to some organ. That's why Staphysagria comes into the role. This scar is sensitive spot. Any touch on it, any irritation on it is very painful. These kind of experience you can see in Ranunculaceae family. The raw spot, the sensitive spot, the touchy spot, and there you have the sharp stitching, stabbing, and stinging pain in Ranunculaceae family members. So we'll go of understanding Staphysagria, but in between, now we are coming up with a session of deep dive into polycrust remedies. 6 sessions, 6 remedies we are about to teach in the coming webinar, where we offer you the discussion in the group regarding rubrics. And in this remedies, we are discussing about 50 rubrics, main 50 important rubrics with the videos, how patient expresses, and at what time we need to take the rubrics. With the 6 remedies, that is abrotinum, aconite, aluminum, ammonium carb, anacardium orientalis, and anacardium occidentalis. And many people from here who have joined, they already joined our Kali session, which has been completed very recently, and they know what discussion has been went through in our groups. It's a beautiful discussion with lot of cases, with lot of clinical approaches, clinical tips, and in different cases, different repertories we have used. So grab this opportunity, very early bird offer of $5.99. You can grab it today. And what we are going to study in this. And these recordings I will be having for 3 months of 3 months recording access will be given. 50 plus rubrics will be discussed every day in the group, every day with case patterns, every day with clinical tips and etc. That is what master the polycrust remedies and 50 rubrics in 1 month course, which starts on April 1st. With understanding the deeper patterns of Materiamedica rubrics with a lot of clinical tips and cases. And in this session, we are adding information of lectures on 50 plus important rubrics which are used in our daily practice, along with some single remedy rubrics and with Materiamedica references. So you can join join this. You can text me. This is my WhatsApp number. Once the session is completed, whoever interested, the early bird offer is still there. You can join. 3 months access will be given. And those who have already joined our previous session, they know the worth, what I am speaking, what I am giving, sharing. We will be sharing some important PDF books as well to them. And these are some feedbacks from our Kali session, you can see. We have discussed Kali Sal's, at least around 15 Kali Sal session with beautiful cases, with beautiful PPT as well. It was around 600 and slides of only 15 remedies. So the matter which we collect is from different books, stalwarts cases, their application, their clinical patterns, how patient works, how patient speaks, everything. So please grab our opportunity. Interested people can text me. This is my WhatsApp number. You can take screenshot and you can text me after the session. So coming into the remedy, Staphysagria now. Are you all getting it? Shall I go through the remedy Staphysagria? Yes, thank you. So coming to the introduction here. So the common name is loosewort and it belongs to Ranunculaceae family, we all know, and the part used is seeds. This plant has been used herbally for centuries as an emetic and treatment of head lice. Understand this. And Patak has clearly mentioned it is useful at dandruff and head lice in head. So it's more important to the head lice and dandruff, Staphysagria, until and unless it is indicated. And warts and itching. And it is a native plant of Europe, now grown in Asia also. Seeds of the plants are dried, powdered, triturated, and successed. It was proved and published by Dr. Hahnemann in 1819. So the common name is Stavarians and is derived from Staphys. So means resin or a grape, or agros means wild. So Staphysagria was well known to the both Greeks and Romans actually. Discourse mentions it aptly describes its use as a parasite. It continued to be extensively employed throughout the Middle Ages. That is our introduction. So coming into the situational materia medica. So each remedy we teach in the manner of understanding as a person as a whole. So coming to the Staphysagria situation of the remedy here, the situational materia medica of Staphysagria is that of a man who comes from a honorable background, but at present is poor or dependent and under someone who humiliates him. He cannot openly revolt or show his anger since he feels he could be betrayed himself in doing so. This is the situation of Staphysagria patients. Understand this. So, for example, I will give you a lady who was from a honorable background, right, and married a man who was very poor, and they started humiliating her, insulted her, mother-in-law is insulting, or her husband is insulting, then she is going such a turmoil inside them. So they are at the high position at their childhood or at their past history or at their family background. But now the patient is very poor, dependent on someone, a lot of humiliation he or she is facing, a lot of insult he or she is facing, cannot revolt back. Suppression here you can see in this remedy. So this is the main core or situation Materia Medica of Staphysagria. It is a situation, understand this, it is a situation of being unjustly treated by a person on whom he is dependent. So there is need for justice, egoism, insulted feeling, lot of mortification you can see in this remedy. Suppressed anger, occasional violent outburst of anger you can see in this remedy. Unjustly treated, whom she or he is dependent on someone. When someone cannot fill the expectations, unjustly treating, not caring, humiliating for each and every work she or he does, insult. Then they go into the state of sadness, depression, grief, vexation, you can see. Cannot open up, cannot speak the word against them. Such a feeling you can see in Staphysagria. Coming to the causation, anger suppressed or reserved, injury, false, clean out, wounds operations, and sorry, causation after coition you can see in this remedy. A lot of masturbation, sexual abuse, sexual cravings you can see in this remedy. Emissions, dentition, tobacco, and mercury. These are some causation or elements from you can think of. Now coming to the different types of Staphysagria. This is important. This you need to understand whenever patient comes into your clinic. At what stage he or she is, and what remedy to be given at this present stage. Staphysagria at other type, they are very sweet, devoted wife, devoted husband, or vice versa. Very wild, take risks like anacardium, adventurous like naxomica, like sulfur. Very intense sexual fantasies you can see in this remedy. Drive to frequent masturbation. Subdated avoids conflict, avoids social interaction, and very introverted, very reserved. Or you can have the feeling of very suppressed here. Very smooth, very diplomatic, you can see, very skilled to avoid situations of his uncomfortable zone. So we have so many occasions in our increasingly complex society to feel bullied, trapped, victims of injustice. An atmosphere of resistment or a trial and the judgment is an indication that this remedy is in of interest. Understand? So that's why mind, anger, suppressed. So the other pattern you can see here, injustice, injustice. Causticum comes into the role of injustice, but injustice cannot tolerate. If someone or some other doing or some dowry, they are taking some bribery from any office, anything, then this causticum patient cannot tolerate. Revolt walk, rebellious at that time. But causticum is not feeling that injustice in them. If that injustice is felt by causticum or that injustice is felt there, then he is Staphysagria. It is most suitable to the people who have suppressed their emotions, especially anger. They are extremely sensitive, particularly to criticism and rudeness. Irritability, anger will be boiling inside, but outwardly they appear mild. Inwardly staff, outwardly pulsatilla can be such a mild you can see. They yield and avoid conflictions. Mind anger elements from anger vexation you can see in this remedy. Mind anger elements after anger with indignation. Coming to the stages of Staphysagria, very sensitive, very anger and loss of control you can see. When they have loss of control, they go into the state of disapparate, become bad, ill reputation, and disrespect. This is the sequence goes at the stages of Staphysagria. Coming into the sensitivity part of Staphysagria, very sensitive to what others say about him. The feeling seems to be that his survival depends upon maintaining a high reputation, self-control of being very, very superior, calm, dignified person who wins the respect of all by his noble actions. A person who is much above the ordinary. Understand these people you can see across in your society, in your neighbors, in your friends, in your college students, in your everywhere. Understand, it can be Staphysagria. They always feel the high reputation, self-controlled, very superior, want to be at the noble action, noble profession. Sensitivity in the physical sphere. Very little inflamed spot will have in its center sensitivity points. Little nerve spots, ulcers when touched causes the patient to go all to pieces and convulsions threatens. Such a sensitivity you can see in this remedy. Even the touch provoke to convulsions. Sensitivity runs through there at the physical sphere also. Sensitivity at the eyes, sensitivity at the tip of the fingers, sensitivity at the ears, that is noise, sensitivity at the taste, sensitivity at the nose. So this sensitivity at the psychic level, this sensitivity at the physical sphere, you can see in the remedy Staphysagria. At a point that Staphysagria person can find it too much to keep the control. He starts to lose it, and at the first signs found as the suppressed anger begins to surface, the face becomes red. This is the key confirmatory of Staphysagria. During anger, they are suppressed. At one stage, the outburst of anger reflects at the physical level with face red, weakness after anger, hemiplegia after anger, Anger throws things away. Strike desire too. This is one meme. Staphysagria suppressing emotions be like. Uday, control, control. Coming into loss of control now. At the stage of loss of control, how staff behaves. One who is in a healthy can easily put aside a controversy, knowing that he has done what is right. But a Staphysagria patient, when he has to control himself, goes all to the pieces, trembles from head to foot, loss of voice. Understand? Loss of voice and anger suppressed, has ability to work, cannot sleep, and headache follows. Many times a man has come into my office with blue lips, trembling hands, pain about the heart and all over, and he thinks he is going to die. He tells a story of an alteration and pent up warmth, and Staphysagria stops his trembling and quiets him. So these are the first signs of loss of control you can see in this remedy. Later, when the situation has become disparate and he feels the demand on him is too much, he may throw to all the wind all his reputation, honor, and become the opposite, a person of ill reputed who is looked down upon and treating with utmost disrespect. Understand this beauty level of understanding different stages. First, they lose control. Before we have discussed, Staphysagria is more of noble person, more of respectable person. But at the first sign, lose of control. Then this lose of control go at the stage of disapparate. Then they go into the state of ill reputate, utmost disrespect, speaks abusive languages. On the physical level, there may be loss of control over the muscles. He can get convulsions from being unjustly accused. Comparison of some mind remedies with Staphysagria. Carcinosin and Staphysagria. And interestingly, carcinosin comes very, very close to Staphysagria. Very close. But carcinosin is a state where parents have been dominated. So both have this timidity, mild state, everything comes very close. In carcinosin, you see, will allows themselves to dominate and control and won't stand up for themselves. The same runs in Staphysagria. But in carcinosin, the internal state, until it cannot be repressed any longer. But in Staphysagria, they're going to the state of indignation and resistment. Carcinosin tends to have more of anxiety and fears, more of cancer miasm. Not that much anxiety is marked at Staphysagria. More violent and wild is carcinosin. But staph, we know that controls. Staph can be violent, but not that much violent grade can comes close to carcinosin. Coming to the next, lac caninum and staph. In lac caninum, you can see a looting life, discuss life, like a dog. And in Staphysagria, they feel weaker, suppress their anger, and then finally explode. But lac caninum is more wild and out of control. In lac caninum, they are not sweet patients, but staph, sweet, mild, and pentellate, you can see in this remedy. And they are dominated more stronger. In staph, it is more of weaker. Pulsatilla and staph again. In pulsatilla do not suffer in the same way with a great feeling of indignation, but staph has a great feeling of indignation. In pulsatilla, pride in pulsatilla is more of type of senility and sensitivity, a kind of flatterous. It is more of a kind of what I can say, mild, yielding, care, such a kind. But in pulsatilla is not such a kind. It is of great resource of protection against feeling of insult which are easily felt. Pulsatilla is need with a lot of relationship. That's what I'm saying. They want for the yielding relationships. But in staph, great degree of emotional suppression, a lot of frustration, which slowly builds to a breaking point. In pulsatilla, we cannot see that breaking point, actually. So coming to the next pattern here, in indignation is same at the colocin and indignation is same at the Staphysagria. But indignation of colocin, that is psychic, but at the somatic level of colocin, it is related to violent cramps. But Staphysagria somatic is at the level of cyst, stice, a recurrent stice is a remedy staph. Indurated glands, lot of toothache and arthritis you can see after indignation. Coming to the mind here, unable to concentrate, suppress emotions, they are unable to concentrate. Then they go into the state of headaches, irritability, bladder with frequent urination and prostatic enlargement, you can see. Suppressed emotions go into the state of sleeplessness, confusion of mind. So they develop the state of stomach disorders, skin problems, trembling, fatigue, nerve problems, eye troubles, hearing problem, breathing difficulty, gynecology disorders, or rheumatism, arthritis, and cancer. Psychosomatic. Why does Staphysagria suppress emotions? This is an interesting point. So want to maintain the dignity, self-respect, even under extreme pressure. Obliged to please others, strongly believes in maintaining good relationship with others and social harmony. They are very noble. Actually, if you read Soul of Remedies, which was written by Dr. Rajan Shankaran sir, and he has mentioned beautifully Staphysagria with Mahatma Gandhi. That is what a noble profession is. It is not out of pride or nobility, but for necessity. Dependence, forced submission, inferior status, unable to fight back, restrained by common sense and insult of survival. God will take care, will be the attitude. Mind, speech swallows his word. Silicious swallows his words at level of timidity, but Staphysagria swallows because of fear of being insulted, introverted. That is quite different, you can see here. Outwardly, Staphysagria, very cheerful, talkative, enjoying the existence. Beneath the surface, there is injured pride, like Platina. But I will tell you what the quite difference between Platina and Staphysagria. A lot of frustration, embarrassment you can see in this remedy. And this embarrassment is a very beautiful remedy for sulfur. And that is why Staphysagria is complementary to sulfur. Sulfur has also this state of egoistic pride, want to achieve and show something. That's why sulfur is a philosophical mania. He knows everything. He speaks, I know everything. This I know. I can talk. I can talk for hours together. This subject I have learned long back. That is the state of sulfur. Staphysagria takes pleasure in pain, continuously revealing the anger and frustration inside. This individual unconsciously get themselves into situation where injustice rain down upon them. Jealous is also present with this remedy. Guilt for doing something wrong, then go into the state of disappointment. Then the somatic derangement occurs, that is the pathological changes. Coming to the ego, this is what I said. Mind, delusion, tall he is. That's why the remedy sulfur is there here with staph and stramonium and some other remedies. But these are high grade. Mind delusion enlarged. He considers others lower than himself. Platina ego, they'll cast the people, cast away from them. But staff, they don't do that because staff want the noble. Staff want that relationships. They want that nobility, cheerful. They don't want to show the disrespect. That is quite difference between Platina and Staphysagria. Are you all getting it? Is it going well? Are you all understanding? Yes, yes. Thank you. Sexual sphere. This is most important in this remedy. Sexual sphere is relation with mind. They are nice people, get along others well and quite friendly. If that person is romantically attracted towards someone, then they develop active fantasy life. But they fear too much closeness. Understand this. This is the beauty. That's why staph is beautiful remedy for sexually suppressed and they go into the state of masturbation for their pleasure. This sets timidity, so cannot express their fantasies, the relationship the way she likes. Explanation of rubric, indifference, masturbation after. So, staff timidity, lack of confidence, low self-worth, damaged ego, especially his aversion to all the persons to opposite sex can turn the sexual libido inwards and result in excess masturbation. Only Platina and Organium masturbate more than Staphysagria. Masturbation is a kind of escape out for Staph. He shortcuts his emotions by driving into masturbation. But Later on, this masturbation results in extreme guilt feeling. Then he starts reproaching himself. For this vicious cycle starts and keeps on going. Then staffs go into the state of isolation and finally into a state of indifference. This is the beauty. So here you see the chat: suppressed emotions, masturbation, release of emotions. Again, the same cycle continues. Sexual sphere in relation with mine. She imagines her lover with her. Fantasies very sweet, romantic relationship. She enjoys well by masturbation. Does great pleasure out of platonic but non-physical relationship even for many years. Mind lavish and lustful. Mind thoughts intrude, crowded around each other very sexually. So whenever we think of this lavish sexual nature, think of other two remedies, that is hyosamus and phosphorus. But whenever it is linked with lot of masturbation, then the remedies are platinum and organium and Staphysagria. Very timid to express when she encounters her lover. She is afraid and shy. She becomes nervous and her voice gets choked. Avoid intimacy and closeness to avoid humiliation or hurt feeling in case of rejection. Want to maintain her dignity and respect. So a lot of nymphomania you can see in this remedy. Now you see here, the feelings are suppressed due to the feeling of rejection, or due to the feeling of humiliation, or due to the feeling of hurt. This indicates the oversensitivity of Staphysagria. Some staff persons will have sexual relationships, feels very guilty as if committed a great sin, goes to the temple, pray the god for excuse, again and again repeats. From Boric Medica, sexual sins and excess, dwells on the sexual matters, prefers solitude, that is loneliness. Too shy and mild to seek the partner, but sexual desire is very, very high. Uncontrollable desire to masturbate in youngsters, resort to fantasies and masturbation. Married person feels below her on her or his dignity to express her or his sexual desire to the spouse, resort to masturbation. Then feels guilty, does puja, pray to God to excuse feeling committed great sin. That's why delusion committed some crime is Staphysagria is the remedy in the rubric. How we can identify a male patient of staph? Face is sunken, abstended look you can see, a lot of nocturnal emissions, backache, weak legs, relaxed organs, deficiency of vital heat, tendency to take cold, deep sunken with the red and lustrous eyes. Hairs fall out, especially at the occiput, loss of prostatic fluid, impairment of sexual desire, dull, contensive pains in the testes, and this is one of the beautiful remedy for atrophy of testes given by Fataksar if it is indicated. And Fataksar has written hairs falling out, especially at the occiput region. Alopecia, especially after grief. Coming to some single rubrics of Staphysagria. Mind anger elements after anger vexation. Mind anger elements after anger with indignation. Anger suppressed. Confusion you can see. Lot of delusion, fancy illusions you can see in this remedy. They are in the state of virtual world. Grief elements from memory weakness of read what he has, sensitive to rudeness, concentration aversion to, confusion at the morning, confusion concentrating the mind on attempting to, confusion for mental exertion, confusion periodical, confusion talking while, and confusion waking on. Elements from mortification and indignation you can see. Here you see that beautiful rubric. Indifference, masturbation after. That is what we have discussed. Irritability, dog towards, puppies towards. Lot of mania, midnight aggravation about. Lot of prostration you can see in this remedy with lot of vexation. And morose children, especially in the morning. A lot of sexual after you can see in this remedy. Throwing things around, person said offended who. Now, coming to the other rubric, the main rubric, explanation of rubric elements from mortification and indignation. So why they go into this state here? Mortification is an account of humiliation or making deep hurt and embracement to one's self-respect. So mortification is a greater or lesser. So staph is a classical example of elements from mortification. The word mortification comes from a Latin word mortificus, which means causing death. It means in mortification, patient is wounded to an extreme extent due to which he becomes prey to many elements. So staph is wounded to such an extent. So the wounded or insult to the organs at the psychotic level can be staph. Some delusion rubrics, delusion down, everything beneath him sees too. This rubric will tell you how Staphysagria is at the state of pride, higher, noble. Delusion criticized, delusion she has committed crime, delusion everything beneath him seems to low down. That is what I said. Delusion she is falling backward, the legs could go out from under him. Coming to this rubric, delusion Gardner explained. So this feeling comes from the grave pathology which runs under Staphysagria. So staff feels that she is very, very dignified. And for staff, dignity means reframing from anger. She considers everyone is beneath her, those who criticize her, very, 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 very close to platinamide, condemn her, abuse her, curse her, and far below her intellect. They all are low-minded people. Due to this constant feeling, staff lands into a situation of delusion. Lot of confusion of mind you can see in this remedy. This confusion is what I will explain here. Staff tends to appear confused when talking about their feelings. They suffer more from intellectual impairment than a depression. Battle between fear and rage in subconscious mind. Want to express? I cannot express. Shall I express? If I express, what will happen? How they receive? If I face humiliate, how? If I face insult, how? Such a feeling you can see in this. That's why they go into the state of confusion of mind periodical. Fears of staff, fears of height, falling from like aurum, fear of being insulted, fear of being mortified, fear of being killed, he can be, or fear of his own shadow. Coming into the Staphysagria's child mother, this you need to understand very well. During pregnancy, they suffer from dominating in the laws, dominating in-laws, dominating husband. After marriage, women realize her husband is a womanizer, or he is impotent, or he is suffering from any venereal diseases or AIDS, or he is already married. So women got raped during pregnancy by sexual mania, wrongly blamed by family or friends. If you get the past history of mother in a child cases, if this is the past history, then child end up into the landing of Staphysagria remedy. Now going into the pattern of child of Staphysagria. In very small children, a good symptom of staph is that they take day for the night. The infant sleeps during the day, but not at the night. On investigation, we found there was some kind of great annoyance during pregnancy. That's why in child cases, in children's cases, mother's pregnancy history plays a crucial role. That history could be at the psychic level, that history at the abuse of some medicines. We need to understand what was exactly happening there. Coming to the behavior of child. So this is what here you see how a children behaves when the mother going to the state of staphysagria, right? They are more of self-inflicted scratches, bites. Oh, this remedy is such a remedy. Knocking his head against the ground whenever he is announced. Very self-destructive. In older girls, this remedy is often used after puberty on the occasion of their first sexual relationships. So, at the time, they may develop the symptoms of recurrent cystitis, that is bladder inflammation, while bacteriological test remains normal with clear urine, bladder irritation of a psychological origin. This is what you need to understand at the children's cases. Lot of sadism you can see in this remedy. Lot of hurting himself with self-inflicted. Lot of self-destruction like syphilinum. Staff takes pleasure in pain, continuously revealing the anger and frustration inside. So ill-humored children cry for things which after receiving they penultimately push or throw away. Coming into the taking the example of a 5-year-old who, when his little sister is born, become intolerable and he is looking for a spanking. The parents say he finally gets one too, since he has done everything to deserve it. However, instead of turning to violence, it could be better to give him a dose of staph. So check the development of this detrimental atmosphere. Coming into the generalities, now we are entering into the pathological sphere of Staphysagria or physical sphere, or what we can say the local symptoms, right? Nervous affections with a lot of trembling is marked in this remedy. It produces both at the physical and the moral level, and a lot of sexual disturbances we already discussed, provokes the excess irregular sexual appetite and a tendency to masturbation and the physical state corresponding to the effect of that habit. Acts on the teeth, urinary organs, fibrous tissues of the lids, at the skin and at the glands and at the right deltoid. A lot of morbid sensitivity. The least word that seems wrong hurts very much. Special senses become irritable, cannot tolerate, touch, odor, offensive, taste, everything is painfully sensitive. So this oversensitivity now we are studying at the psychic, at the somatic level. Squeezing or stringing, smarting pains you can see in this remedy. Pain that moves into teeth. And this is one of the remedy you can prescribe in lacerated wounds, in lacerated tissues, cut injuries. Some of the elements, anger from insults, reserved anger, injury falls off, clean cut wounds, after operations, sexual abuse. So interestingly, I'll tell you. After operation, if patient develops sleeplessness, what is the remedy? Sleeplessness after operation. Are you all there? No one is texting. Sleeplessness after operation. Chalo, I'll do it. The remedy is stick tapi. Is my voice is audible to you? Please at least text that. Is my voice is clear? So sleeplessness after operations, you can think of stick tapi. And after operations, there is a lot of weakness. Then the remedy is strontiana carb. And in cases of calcarea carb, where you have prescribed calcarea carb and there is temporary relief, you can follow up the remedy. Strontiana carb will cure the calcarea carb patient. Like carboveg and kali carb similarity you can see. Coming into the head pattern here, head confused and lot of embraced dull feeling of head with inability to perform any mental labor. Wheeling vertigo, sometimes in the evening and in bed. A lot of pain in the vertex you can see in this remedy. Headache in the morning on waking as if brain were bruised. Lot of bruised sensation you can see in this remedy. Stupefying pressing headache as if brain were compressed. Stupefying headache that she had for 3 days goes away at once. Sensation of ball of lid in the forehead. A lot of numb head feeling you can see in this remedy. Pain in the occiput and forehead, especially in these constitutions. This is what I said. Head hair fall from occiput and around the ears, and alopecia after grief, like phosphoric acid. Vertigo better by walking about in a circle. This is the beauty of vertigo of staph. Vertigo is better walking around the circle and turning rapidly on the heels. Contradictory here. And dandruff and head lice. Coming into the eye, a lot of heat in the eyeballs you can see with a lot of dimness spectacles. Recurrent styes, recurrent styes. Staph is your remedy. When your well-selected remedy fails. Eyes sunken with blue rings like lycopodium. Margin of lids itch. Affects at the angles of eye, particularly the inner, with lacerated, incised wounds of cornea. Bursting pain in the eyeballs of syphilitic iritis. Lot of syphilitic iritis, syphilitic tendency you can see. Itching eruption above and behind ears, ringing in the ears or moving head, reports in the ears, sensation as if wind blow into them. Noise in ears like sawing of wood, with swelling tonsils and vertigo and shooting pain from temple to temple. And one of the beauty of here in this remedy is hardness of hearing from enlarged tonsils and hardness of hearing from enlarged tonsils and in children from adenoids. Understand, if they have this enlarged tonsils and having a symptom of hearing problem, and if in children if they have adenoids with hardness of hearing, then your remedy is Staphysagria. Coming to the nose ulcerated with scabs deep in interior, violent fluent coryza, but this coryza is without sneezing without coryza is staph. Understand, that is most important here. Coryza with ulcerated nostrils, coryza at the first discharge of only thick mucus after of thin water, lot of obstruction of nasal fossa with nasal voice, you can think. Coming into the mouth, this is most important here. Whenever you get a case where the teeth is blackish teeth, the remedy is Staphysagria. A lot of decayed teeth you can see in this remedy. Decayed teeth at the roots. The other remedies is meserium and thuja. And this remedy works wonders, especially in fistula dentitis and stomatitis. And the teeth comes up and at the same time the decays. Very early decaying of teeth with blackish discoloration. The more trouble she has with her teeth and gums, the more constipated she becomes. This is the beauty of Staphysagria, was given by Fata. Whenever they get the problem of teeth, whenever they get the problem of mouth, gums, gum affections, gum swelling, teeth inflammation, with a pathology of rectum, that is constipation. Now the comparison here you see. Creosote is very early in decayed tooth. It appears as soon as the teeth makes their appearance. The odor from mouth is a lot of offensive. And you know, creosote is such a remedy for offensiveness, especially in female genitalia. Everything is offensive. Leucorrhea is offensive. In thuja, the decay commences at the root and closes at the gums, and the croning remains sound. But CPI is indicated in caries, decay of teeth in yellow complexed women of dirty habit. This is the beauty. Coming into the mouth pattern again, gum spongy and bleeds easily. The sound of teeth as well as the decayed are very painful to touch of food or drink. Staff patient says, even slightest drinking of water, even slightest touch of something which I eat, my tooth pains so much, doctor. So much, my gums pain. Even if I touch now, even if I touch with like this, if something is there, if I touch, then severe pain I can see. Mercurial affections of teeth and gums, caries in the former, suppuration in the later. And here you see menstrual monomania. In cases of menses, then they develop the pain at the teeth. Interesting, right? Menses aggravation along with the teeth pain. Staph is your remedy. Coming into the throat, stitches flying to the ear on the swelling like phytolica. Throat pain to the ear, especially at the left side. Phytolica is at the both side, but phytolica is more of electric like shocks. That in staph it is like stitching pains. Swelling of tonsils after the abuse of mercury. Chronic tonsillitis. Tonsils are too large but hard from previous attacks of acute tonsillitis. You can see this remedy. A lot of cross and irritable. Excuse me, sorry. Swallows continuously while talking. A lot of indurations and hypertrophy of tonsils you can see with nasal voice. So throat affections with voice change. Coming to the stomach pattern, a lot of flabby and weak you can see in this remedy. And interestingly, staph patient desires for bread and all the nitrums aversion to bread. Understand this. And tobacco they desire. And ignitia also have this disappointment, indignation, right? But ignitia is aversion for this tobacco smell. Even the smell they cannot tolerate. But staph desires for tobacco smell. And staph loves petrol smell. Stomach feel relaxed. Canine hunger you can see in this remedy. Nausea after abdominal operations. One of the beautiful remedy for this. And Staphysagria is a splendid remedy for dyspepsia of nervous affections, of nervous diathesis. Coming into the differences pattern of staph and colocynth. Eating and drinking causes gripping. Both are same. Both have this stools pain with squeezing. Both have this intense pain in the intestines, head, and the testes. But colocynth have at the testes and ovaries. So it is more of a stomach and the female, but in staph you can see at the male as well. Worse from anger, worse from anger, you can see in both the remedy. Coming to the respiratory pattern here, one of the beautiful symptom I'll tell you about respiratory, which I was very astonished, which was written in Fatak. That is, see here, breathlessness with a lot of construction at the close of coition or after seminal emissions. This is the beauty. With a lot, with affection of coition or with action of sexuality sphere, there is lot of respiratory troubles. And crouping cough in winter, alternating with sciatica in summer. This is the beautiful symptom. In winter, they have this crouping cough and alternating with sciatica in the summer. Cough excited by tobacco smoke, like spongia. Cough only in the daytime or only after dinner, worse after eating meat, after vexation or indignation. And another beauty of Staphysagria cough is you ask the patient when the cough is, doctor, cough is especially in the morning. Okay, morning, right? So, morning when it starts, before brushing or after brushing. Doctor, nice point you asked. See, whenever I started cleaning my tooth, then I start coughing. This you need to dig in your patients. Whenever they say the aggravation aggravated in the morning, and staph is your remedy. Excited by cleaning the teeth, they produce cough. Abdomen pain, swollen abdomen in children with much flatus. Lot of colic with pelvic tenesmus you can see in this remedy. Rectum tenesmus with colic, it's mark core. With pelvic tenesmus with colic pain is Staphysagria. Several pain following abdominal operation. Anger with colic pain. Diarrhea from drinking cold water. Piles are very sensitive, worse from touch. Dysentery in weak, pot-bellied children. Understand? Flatus, short, smells like rotten eggs. Dysenteric stools, worse after least food or drink. Coming into the stool pattern, not much known here. Much difficulty in the boils, subjected to chronic diarrhea and constipation. Colicky, twitching, tearing pains in the abdomen you can see. And especially diarrhea after indignation, diarrhea after cold water, diarrhea after eating. Tell me the remedy. Diarrhea after watermelons or diarrhea after impure water. What is the remedy? Arsenic. Okay. Arsenic. Okay. The remedy is gingiber. Gingiber officinalis. The remedy is gingiber officinalis. Diarrhea, especially after watermelons and impure water. It was written in boric. And interestingly, I'll tell you one of the beautiful, beautiful indication of gingiber officinalis from boric. He writes cessation of kidney failure. So, especially in kidney failure, chronic kidney failures, when your well selected remedy is not at all working, think of the remedy gingiber officinalis or boric. Chronic diarrhea or dysentery of weakly, silky children after anger or after being punished or after emotions. So whenever child gets a chronic diarrhea and you go on asking the history and you say his teacher has punished doctor. Yesterday this was his teacher has punished and he came to home with a lot of crying. Then immediately at the night he or she started with diarrhea complaints or dysentery. Staph is your remedy. So cystocele, you can see in this remedy, honeymoon cystitis. That is what one of the beautiful indication of staph, right? We all know. Cystitis in lying in patients, ineffectual urging to urinate in newly married women. Sensation as if drop of urine were rolling continuously along the channel, burning in the urethra during micturition, prostatic troubles, frequent urination, burning in urethra when not urinating, like Tuja, like Sabadilla and Ferrum picnicum. Urging and pains after urinating, pains after lithectomy, you can see in this remedy. Staphysagria has cured enlarged prostate with frequent urging to urinate, especially in old men, continued teasing with dribbling. And I'll tell you one of the beautiful indication here. In cases of enlarged prostatic enlargement and patient behaves so foolishly, so childish, At the old age, then the remedy is Barretta cup, single remedy from synthesis repertory. And beautiful remedy for benign prostatic enlargement, Barretta cup. Barretta cup acts at the two extremities, at the child and at the old. Rephoboric, frequent urging to urinate with scanty discharge in thin stream or discharges of urine in drops may be followed by sensation as if bladder were not fully empty. Coming to the male, we already discussed, and it is more of sexuality, spermatoria, sexual neurasthenia. You can see a lot of backache, emissions. This is what I said before in this. Lot of respiratory troubles after coition. Lot of impotency you can see in this remedy. The most distressing symptom of male genitalia is excitability, but there is also impotency. Seminal emissions followed by great chagrin, mortification and prostration and dyspnea. Male, here you see atrophy of testes, and here you, other remedy I can think of, orchitis from mumps. This is beauty. After mumps, they go and develop orchitis, and the other remedy from the same family, pulsatilla, is a beautiful, beautiful remedy. Okay. Coming to the female, parts are very sensitive, worse from sitting down, like beriberi and creosote. Irritability bladder in young married women, cystitis, you can think. Leukorrhea, prolapse with sinking in the abdomen and aching around the hips. A little what will come out, especially about the genitalia and anus, little granular growths about the urethra and vagina, so sensitive that if the nippled between the fingers, the patient will go into spasms, especially in women. Such a sensitivity you can see here. Very sharp shooting pains in the ovary, which is actually sore to touch. Pain extend along the crucial regions of the thighs. So more of like xanthosylum, you can see lot of dysmenorrhea, lot of pains extending into the thighs. Xanthosylum is the remedy there. Along with that, staph is also your remedy. Salpingitis, you can see. This is the beauty of this here. You see amenorrhea from indignation. There is one remedy I will tell you. If in cases of amenorrhea where you have prescribed a lot of remedies, nothing is helping, think of polygonum punctulatum. I'll text you the remedy in the group. And the other remedy, sinistio, will work. Functional amenorrhea is sinistio. Menses regular with aching around hips and loss of power in the limbs. First question is very painful, causing acute mentally body suffering. That's why they go into the state of convulsions at the first question, because they feel the insult there. This is the pattern. Pain in the small of back as after overlifting was from coition in the morning and rising from the seat. Skin we already discussed. For fig warts, for pedunculated warts, senecio oris. I'll text you, sir. Senecio, that is. Eczema of head, ear, face, body, thick scabs, dry itching violently, scratching changes, location of itching. Lot of night sweats you can see in this remedy. Pain that precedes the shingles you can see in this remedy. Dry pedunculated fig warts. If there is dry pedunculated fig warts, only single remedy staph. And due to the skin complaints, if someone touch, they go into the state of convulsions. Extremities, backache you can see in this remedy. Lot of beaten, painful, bruised. Lot of neuralgia is more seen in this remedy. And this is one of the beautiful remedy for arthritic nodocytes of joints, especially in the fingers, like spicata, actia spicata. Inflammation of phalanges with sweating and buttocks ache while sitting. Bones of fingers imperfectly developed. Sleep, violent yawning, that we already discussed, with stretching brings tear in the eyes. Child wakes, pushes everything away and wants everybody to go out, call for mother often. A lot of sexuality dreams you can see in a sleep pattern of Staphysagria. Sleeps all day, awakes all night, body aches all over. Some hints I will tell you here. Weeping without tears in children. Only remedy Staphysagria which was given by Phobister. He said, Staph, give it 200. Weep without tearing in children. This was the clinical tip from George Whitokal, sir. Behavioral disorders, if you get a case of any behavioral disorders and there is a lot of suppression at the child and suppression at the mother during pregnancies, then the remedy is Staphysagria. Psoriasis after grief with suppressed emotions, single remedy from synthesis repertory. If you go into synthesis repertory, search for it, single remedy Staphysagria. Alopecia areata after grief or suppression, you can see this remedy. Head pain, suppressed emotions with coition, with masturbation. These are beautiful clinical hints for you all. Coming into the modalities part, aggravation from anger, indignation, grief, mortification, loss of fluids, onism and sexual excess. Tobacco, least touch on affected parts. Amel after breakfast, warmth, rest at night. So thank you everyone who have attended this session, and please share your feedbacks, and you can join in our YouTube channels as well. These are our scanning link, and please everyone do share your feedbacks in the group. Thank you. I will upload this session in the YouTube, and please think of our upcoming webinars. The seats are filling. You can join us. You can join us. You can join us very soon. Early bird offer is going to be end. We'll be discussing, and everyone knows about previous sessions who have attended, how we are going to discuss, we have how what we have discussed, everyone knows, and you can join and learn with us. Thank you, and thank you so much. Please share your feedbacks.